She did not.
Okay, you'll know the answers, I'm sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Chris Gilmore. I am a WPTV anchor and reporter. I am here with a tax and wealth strategist and tax specialist, Chantel Brown, with A-Class Tax Services in West Palm Beach. This is your second edition of Tax Tuesday here at WPTV. We want to make sure that we give you guys all the tools at your disposal to get your taxes filed safely, securely, and get those returns quickly, because Lord knows we all need the money. So let's go ahead and get started by introducing Ms. Brown. Thanks for joining us again for another lunch hour edition of Tax Tuesday. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. And as we get more people in this chat, we want to encourage you to submit any questions that you have. We're going to be focusing to begin with unemployment questions. And a lot of people, unfortunately, did find themselves filing for unemployment this year or in 2020. And from what I learned from last session, Ms. Brown, that is taxable income.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So if you did receive taxes, you will have to on unemployment. You will have to file your tax
Correct.
returns. Okay,
Correct.
and that was the first question. How do you go about doing that? Is there a form or paperwork that you have to submit, or does the IRS already know? How do you go about doing that, claiming your unemployment on your taxes?
So the first thing is the IRS already knows. However, it's our responsibility to make sure that we are in compliance with what is already being reported to the IRS. So what I have a lot of people who are saying like they haven't received their form in the mail, which is okay. In the state of Florida, you can always go to the state DOE's website, and that will be the same site that you would normally claim your unemployment weeks on, and pull the form 1099G. That is the official form. 1099G is the official form that is going to provide you with the information necessary for us to be able to claim the unemployment that you had for 2020.
Right, we have the DEO office there and the webpage pulled up where you can find all that information in case you are wanting to track down that documentation. And again, you will need to submit that when you're filing. I'm already seeing some questions coming in, and I know that you know the answers to these because we saw these pop up last week. It's okay. We love to answer questions over again. We want to make sure you guys, again, get the most accurate filings. The question that I'm seeing is from Jason, and it's about stimulus checks. And it says, I've yet to receive a stimulus check. Will that come up on your taxes? What's the answer to that in terms of stimulus checks? A lot of people are still waiting on them, Ms. Brown.
Right. So at this point, Jason, if you have not received your stimulus check, what you're going to want to do is claim it on your 2020 taxes as a rebate recovery credit. So when you're filing your taxes, you want to just let your tax professional know that you've not received it, and you can claim it as a rebate recovery credit on your tax return, and you will get it as a refund with your current year taxes.
Okay. Seeing a lot of questions about unemployment coming up. This one from Jamie. Thanks for asking, Jamie. She says, my form hasn't come in the mail and it's not available on the unemployment website. What does she do in that case?
So Jamie, in that case, we just had a client yesterday with the same situation. Once you log on to the online portal for DEO website, there should be like a box on there that gives you a number. It's an 800 number that you will be able to call in order to get that form either uploaded into your portal or for them to mail it directly to you.
Okay, and our producer working hard for us, Allison, pulling up that website, showing you where you can go on that DEO portal to go ahead and find that information, that number to call, and get that paperwork. So, Jamie, if you didn't catch it, we will be saving this broadcast on our streaming services, and you can go ahead and jot down that number and get those answers. We have some more questions, just staying on the same topic of unemployment for you. I know we're really grilling you, but you're the best person we have locally to answer these questions. This one's about CARES Act funding, and The question is, the CARES Act gave people who filed unemployment up to $600 extra. Is the money from both the state and federal? Do you know the answer to that? The
Absolutely. Is there at this time they are both taxable. There has been some chatter, but nothing official that they could possibly change that. If that is the case, then you would, if you've already filed your taxes, then you would just have the opportunity to file an amendment. But at this present moment, there is nothing official stating that that's not a taxable form. So when you get your unemployment 1099-G form, then it will definitely include both the pandemic unemployment assistance as well as the regular unemployment.
Okay. And again, there we have the DEO website for unemployment if you guys need to familiarize yourself what it looks like. I'm seeing this question pop up a couple times in the chat. I'm sure you'd be able to connect the people asking with this resource, Ms. Brown. They're asking for those who need help filing taxes and don't necessarily have the money to spend on tax filing services. Are there places to go where they can file their taxes for free?
Yes, so what you can do is there's online resources. If you go to the irs.gov website, they have free online resources where you can do it yourself. But if you wanted to actually get it done by a certified professional, then you can always visit or look up a VITA, VITA, tax. Uh-oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're
You can
fine.
always go to go to a VITA location where they'll be able to provide you with that service. As long as your income is under a certain amount, there is no charge for it.
Okay, so there you have it. There's the IRS website where you can go to find that information, and it is free, as Ms. Brown said, as long as you meet a certain income threshold. If you make above that amount, you'll have to pay, unfortunately. Let's see what other questions we have coming in. I have another question that we have for you here at WPTV. Are there different forms you need to use for unemployment, or is it just strictly one form when you're claiming unemployment on your tax returns?
So when you're claiming unemployment on your tax returns, you're gonna it's still gonna be claimed on your form 1040. So it's claimed on it's just the type of income that you're claiming, but it will go, you would use the 1099-G, which is given to you by the unemployment office or the Florida Department of Equal Opportunity.
Yeah.
And that would be used to generate your 1040 form.
Okay. Here we have a question from Jennifer Lopez, JLo. She says, my form states an amount more than I received. How do I report that? I guess she wants to report an error.
So you're going to need to call the DEO directly so that they can reconcile that. So what I would say is if they are showing more than what you received, then you're definitely going to want to have your documents. So whether it be your direct deposits or the checks that they sent to you, so that you can show that you didn't receive the amount that they're showing on your form. And then they can always issue you a corrected form.
Mm-hmm. I see another question popping up here. This one's from Nina Sky. She says, who do I contact if my account was hacked? This does happen, I guess. She says, I can't get in. Someone changed all my information and people can't help me, and she doesn't know what to do. Have you come across this before, Ms. Brown?
I have not. So are you saying that the people, because I think I kind of saw that, what you saying, like the people at unemployment, when you call unemployment, they're not able to help you? Because there should be a way for you to be able to verify your identity um, so that they can be able to go into your account to reset whatever it is that someone else has
I'd have to
done.
provide some official
Right.
information like social or date of birth and stuff like that.
Correct. And like they have other questions or other ways that they can identify you that the average person won't have. But what I would say is if that is the case, then what you're gonna definitely want to do is go and file identity theft with your local police department or the sheriff office, and then I would also contact the IRS immediately so that they can flag your account, so that if they're doing that, that you're not having any more issues that'll cause you any farther headache.
Okay, Ben, this might answer your question too. We just had somebody claiming that their account was hacked or stolen. And Ms. Brown saying your best bet might be to go ahead and file an identity theft claim with your local police or sheriff's department, if that's the case. That was her advice to you too, as well, Nina. Get that in as soon as possible and provide whatever
Absolutely.
documentation you can to show that it was hacked. Um,
Correct.
what else are we seeing, guys? Keep your questions coming as we continue to roll through this. This is good. Thank you for sharing your lunch break with us as we go ahead and try and answer your questions. We're about a week in officially into your official ability to file taxes. A little whiles up, I saw somebody ask about the differences between the $1,600 or the $1,200 stimulus bill money and the $600 money, and they're asking if the 1,200 is taxable as well. Yep, there we go. My
Oh.
producer working hard for me. Des asked, what about the stimulus check, the $1,200 in 2020? Is that taxed also? That was an important question. We know people really appreciated seeing that money from the federal government. Are they going to have to pay taxes on that?
Absolutely not. The stimulus checks are advances of a tax credit. So what happened is there was a tax credit was issued, and in order to just put money back into the economy, opposed to having to wait till we filed our taxes, we were advanced those funds. So that is just simply a tax credit. When you're preparing your taxes, the only thing you have to do is say, yes, I received it, or no, I did not receive it. And you're answering that question so that they can reconcile to see if you're owed any farther money. But the monies from the stimulus check, the $1,200 to $600, and if and or once approved, the $1,400 stimulus checks, those are advance of tax credit, so it's not taxable income at all.
Okay. Well, let's go back to Ben. He followed up on the identity theft question. He filed a police report. Is there an area on your taxes to mention that you've already filed and see a discrepancy or a theft or your account being hacked?
So what I would do in that situation, Ben, is I would definitely reach out to the department that handles unemployment for the state of Florida, DEO. I would reach out to them and let them know that that you've had identity theft, that you needed to, you want to know what the process is for you to have that on your record, so that they are not sending that 1099-G form to you. My advice to you, if you were my client, would be not to file that form on your taxes, because we definitely don't want to pay taxes on monies if they were not legally given to you.
Okay. I'm seeing apparently this is a big issue, Miss Brown. I'm seeing Tara asking about it as well. She wasn't able to get a hold of the Boca Raton Police Department. My advice to you would be try the Sheriff's Department in that case, the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, and they might be able
Hmm.
to help you out there. I'm sure they have a similar office. I hate to give you the runaround, but people are a lot more busy and working remotely, so don't be surprised if you don't catch people in person in the office. But yeah,
Right.
go ahead and give the Sheriff's Department a call. More questions we have for you. Are there any tax breaks for unemployment for those who are filing unemployment? Are there any tax breaks or credits there?
Unfortunately, not at this time. Like I said earlier, I have heard chatter that there may be something in the next package that is proposed to be on the president's desk on March 14th. But at this time, there are no tax breaks for the unemployed.
Okay, and I believe I saw a question from Cece. I'm not sure the specifics, but she says, "What about the 1099-R?" First, explain to us what that is, and can she file it next year?
Okay, so that is actually a really good question. So the 1099-R is the form that is provided if you are retired and you had a pension, 401k, annuity, um, and it's like basically retirement distributions. So what happened in 2020 is, because it was one of those kind of years that was a little different, right? So they in the original CARES Act, I believe it was, where it was a provision in there that allowed you to pull money out of your 401k, and because, or out of your retirement plan, and because of the state of emergency, you're able to do that. There's a form 8215. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's 8215E, which will allow you to, as long as it was pulled out for coronavirus relief or coronavirus related reasons, then you can definitely hold off on. So will you still claim it on your current year taxes, but that form will allow you not to have to pay taxes on it in the current year. It could defer the taxes up to 3 years, I believe it is.
Perfect. And you see the form there on your screen and where you should be filling out that information. Um, Keep it coming with the questions, guys. We are answering them. This is your chance to get your questions answered live here on WPTV with our tax specialist while she's still here. I saw another great question that we had for you. Somebody said, I saw earlier in the comments that for the first time they owe on their taxes. It does happen. You're not always going to get a return. Sometimes it turns out that you may have to owe some money back. What happens, Ms. Brown, if you're unemployed in that situation and you owe taxes? Are there payment plans or resources available for you in order to delay that outcome?
So absolutely, if you are finding yourself in a situation where you owe the IRS, when you're fine and you don't have the funds to fully pay it, you definitely can fill out an installment agreement application, where you can do that along with your tax return, where you're basically filing your return, acknowledging that you owe the IRS, and you're asking them if they can give you an installment agreement. So it would just be like basically a payment plan in order to pay them back over time, so that you will be able to sustain yourself. Now, I know at one time also that tax debt was on hold, just like what they did with like rent or mortgage payments, where you didn't have to. And so, I mean, what is called student loan payments, where you didn't have to pay them right away.
Right. In
The
the past, I
tax
just
debt
pulled up
was
the
uncollectible.
we
Right.
have the installment agreement there on your screen, guys. That's what the document you should be looking for.
Right. So the installment agreement, the 9465, you can file that with your tax return in order to have that extension of time to pay. But and just to piggyback off of that, Chris, if you are self-employed, if you are self-employed and your self-employment taxes that you would normally have to pay, there is a form with your taxes that you can file in order to defer your self-employment taxes to a future year.
Perfect, perfect. I see a question from Tracy. This is interesting because I have no idea what it is. But what is a Form 7202? I have a feeling you know.
Yes. So the Form 7202 is the form that allows a credit, and it is a refundable credit for self-employed individuals that was unable to work due to either having to care for themselves or having to isolate themselves due to COVID, or if they had to provide care for a family member. With that form, they will credit you up to 10 days for caring for yourself or a family member, as well as if you have children, a child that's under the age of 18 or children under the age of 18 who you had to provide care for, you can get a credit for up to 50 days of providing that care. And that would be because you were unable to work or telework or work your business, because this is for specifically for self-employed individuals. You were unable to telework or work your business on your normal schedule due to the COVID. So most self-employed people, if they have children under the age of 18, would definitely 9 times out of 10 qualify for this particular credit, because we know in Palm Beach County at the beginning of the school year, it was remote learning. So that definitely affected the ability for a lot of parents to be able to go out and work.
Yeah, you had a lot of parents who were having to play teacher and babysitter and
Right.
caretaker for their kids. So that's a good little hack for a lot of parents, and more people than you would think found themselves in that situation. Are there any other
Absolutely.
credits that people might want to know about who are filing for themselves? Because if you don't file, the IRS isn't going to remind you to
Isn't
say.
gonna remind you, exactly. So what I'm saying to people, so there is another credit, that, and it's a part of this new stimulus of the new bill, where they're looking. So we have a tax credit that if you have children under the age of 17, that you would qualify for the child tax credit, which is at this time up to up to $2,400, up to $1,000 of that. I'm sorry, up to 1,400 of that is actual refundable credit. In the new package, what they're proposing is to increase that to $3,000, I think, for children that's over 6, and $3,600 for children that's under 6. And what they're proposing is, if it goes through, that the parents of those children or whomever the caregivers of those children would receive a monthly check. So it's divided, so it's $300 or um, divided over 12-month period, but they'll receive that check monthly and it would be an advance tax credit. So what I'm advising is like we're having a lot of people even now that's coming in saying that they have multiple kids, but because generally you only get earned income credit for up to three, they don't claim all of their children. My recommendation is that you put all of your kids on your tax return, especially if they're under the age of 16, because you definitely want to be able to take advantage of that if it is passed by Congress.
Okay, this is another good one. A lot of people finding themselves in this situation, especially after COVID. How
Right.
are this one's from Candy? What about someone who's disabled? How are they going to file their tax returns, or what special forms are needed there?
So if they're disabled and their only income comes from a non-taxable form of disability, then as long they would not need to do anything because whatever stimulus package that comes out, for instance, if the $1,400 is approved, then they'll automatically get that. But that's going to only be for those who are disabled and not claimed by someone else. If they're claimed as a dependent on someone else's taxes, then they would not generally qualify for any stimulus packages. But outside of that, there is
Right.
nothing additional at this time.
This one is a situation a lot of people find themselves in. I know you see that question up on your screen
Mhm.
from Don on Facebook. What if you have 50-50 custody? You can't really file. Well, you answer the question.
Okay.
I don't want to
So
step on your toes.
that is so if you have 50-50 custody, the way that that works is only one person can claim, right? So only one person can claim the child. So so the way that the IRS looks at that is the parent who has the child for greater than 6 months out of the year is the parent who can legally claim the child. So whoever the child is with for greater than 6 months. So we know that we generally, unless it's a leap year, we our years are odd numbered, right? So we're talking about you have to have that odd number. So if you split the year in half, the 365 in half, whoever has that one day is who by right is the one that's eligible to claim the child. So even
It's
when
up to a
there's
50-50
50-50,
chance
right,
of who gets that credit. Wow.
right. So I
Okay.
would say in that situation, it's always best if you can make an arrangement with the other parent, like if you guys can come to an agreement and say, maybe you claim on odd years, I claim on even years. But outside of that, it's going to be whatever the stimulus packages are based on or whatever tax year is based on. Whoever claimed that child or that dependent in that tax year, that's who the stimulus payment is going to go to.
Okay. People keep on coming with the questions. We like to see them. This is from Don on Facebook. What if you didn't work and got the relief money? Will you have to pay it back?
Absolutely not. It's still a tax credit.
Okay, so there you go. Quick answer to that one. More questions we have for you here at WPTV while we got you. um, this one says, "Is there an advantage of filing early?" We know that we're pretty excited and vocal about announcing that last Friday was the first day that you can file your tax returns. Here we are, a few days later. Is there any advantage of getting that return in early?
So what I would say, typically speaking, because I know there's like things that are being said in advance pros and cons to filing early, and it's really going to be based on your income. So at this point, I would say if your income is below the $75,000 threshold, then definitely go ahead and file. Because if the next stimulus check is approved, then my understanding that is that it will more than likely be based on your 2020 filing. So you want to go ahead and get that in so that there's not a delay in you receiving whatever additional funding is going to come out. If your income in 2020 was higher than it was in 2019, then it was higher than the $75,000 threshold, then I'm definitely going to say you probably want to wait because right now we're in a uncertain gray area. So we want to make sure that if it's at all possible and there's monies that's out there that can help give your family relief, that you may want to just hold off.
Yeah, that was the next question we had, and you were touching on how it might affect that third stimulus payment. What should you do if you end up making on this current filing more than what you did in 2020 or 2019?
So I would say that based off of what my research is that you may just want to hold off. If getting the stimulus payment is a factor for you, you want to probably just want to hold off until we know for certain what direction they're going to be looking at when it comes to issuing those the next round of stimulus checks.
Okay, and this might be a better question for the president or those in the Senate, but a lot of people have been asking, when is that stimulus check coming? Do we have any clarity there?
So the Speaker of the House is saying that her intentions is to get it on the president's desk by March 14th.
Okay. So hang in there. You have until April 15th. That's a good reminder for everyone to get those filings in. And if you find yourself in that situation of waiting, what are your options if you want to file a filing extension? Is that a
So
option this year?
absolutely. So that's an option. If you filed an extension, it would give us, if you filed the extension, gives you a 6 months extension of time to file your taxes, not pay. So if you owe the IRS, you're definitely going to want to try to make a payment based on what your estimated amount that you may owe, simply because the extension gives us an extension of time to file and not pay. So if you don't pay and you end up owing, then you will definitely be penalized. But you can
Perfect.
file an extension. The extension from April 15th, the returns will be due October 15th.
Okay.
So if again, if the stimulus is relevant, then that may be an option that you wanna hold off on. Because if they're doing it by March 15th, my understanding that stimulus, whatever package comes out, then we probably won't see that until early summer.
Well, so that extension will buy you another 6 months.
Absolutely.
There we go. This one coming from Miss Palm. She says, "What if you never got a stimulus payment for your dependent?" I believe we touched on this last week. You said that the IRS knows everything.
Correct. So what you're gonna wanna do is, just claim it, reconcile it on your current year tax return. So there again, there is a question that asks, did you receive so it's gonna tell you exactly based on your current year filings, how much you should have received in stimulus. And if you did not receive, like whatever you received, you're gonna say, this is what I received. So if you should have gotten 1,700 the first time and you only had received 1,200, then you're gonna say you received 1,200, 500 will be added to your refund. If the second time you were supposed to get 1,200 but only got 600, you're going to say that, and then the additional 600 will be added to your refund.
Okay. This one from Pamela. Do you have to pay federal income taxes for unemployment benefits? Is a common question we have coming up.
Yes. So yes, Pamela, unemployment is a taxable form of income, so you will have to pay federal taxes on it. Again, I have heard chatter that there is possibly something in this new package that is going to give relief for the $600 pandemic unemployment assistance, but that's not official at this time.
Okay, and you could go on the DEO website to find, if you haven't received it, the documentation that you need to have to file your IRS tax return. They'll ask you to create an account and get your login information, and you can get that if you haven't received it already. I know this is the period where you're supposed to be getting all those documents in order and
Right.
organized in order to file. Um, Here's a just a question for you, Miss Brown. What questions do you have coming in to your office about unemployment? People who are looking for help filing. What are the common things you see coming up?
So some of the common things that we see coming up is what was mentioned earlier. People are finding out that they owe taxes because unemployment may have been their main source of income for the year and they didn't have federal withholdings taken out. And because it was a substantial amount, a lot of people receive more in unemployment than they actually received when they were working. So we are getting that a lot. So what my suggestion is if you are currently still receiving unemployment, is that you have federal taxes, that you have federal withholdings taken out in order to make sure that at the end of the year you're not hit with an unexpected tax bill. Some of the other things that we are getting is definitely people who are a little uneasy because unemployment, if you would otherwise qualify for the earned income tax credit, the unemployment does affect that. So we're seeing refunds that are being reduced because they did have earned income, and but the unemployment, the amount that you receive in unemployment affects the amount that you qualify for the earned income tax credit. So we're
So, is
seeing
there a
that a
way
lot as
to
well.
avoid having yourself in that sticky situation? I heard you touch on it. Can you opts to have those taxes taken out before you receive your money each month?
Absolutely. So, yeah, so they ask one of the questions that when you originally go in, or if you go into the portal now, if you are receiving it, now you can just go in and say that you want to opt in to having federal taxes withheld. So
And
that way
avoid
you're
that big
not
bill.
finding yourself in that situation. Right.
Hmm.
And then the other thing that I would like to touch on is we're getting a lot of people who worked in 2019. However, they did not work as much in 2020, or some people not at all. One of the benefits that we are receiving now due to the pandemic is the IRS is allowing for us to use your 2019 earned income to calculate what your earned income tax credit would be for 2020. So even if you did not work or you did not work as much, there is still a possibility that you can get the same refund that you were accustomed to getting based off of your 2019 tax filings.
Perfect. You see the next question coming up. This might be one of our last ones from Diana here on Facebook. It's a 600 received from the federal employment included from the state. Do you get the gist of what she's asking there? The
I
$600.
think so.
I assume that's the
So
stimulus payment.
correct. The $600 receipt. So if we're talking about the pandemic unemployment pay, then yes, that should be included in the 1099-G form. Yes.
Perfect. Any final thoughts you have for us as we are still very early in the tax filing season that you've come across?
So what I would just say again is before making any decisions or not to file, is definitely speak to someone, speak to a tax professional, because we've had quite a few people this week alone, and as well as last week, that were not going to file their taxes because they just didn't feel like there was enough income and they weren't going to get anything. But definitely because of the provision of us being able to utilize their 2019 taxes, we were able to get them, a refund that was similar to what they were accustomed to getting based on their household size and filing status. So I would definitely say if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to a tax professional, or go on the IRS website, and do your research to make sure that, first of all, that you're not missing out on anything that's available to you as a taxpayer, but also to make sure that you're getting the information that you need to make an informed decision when it comes to filing your taxes.
Perfect. Well, that wraps up another edition of Tax Tuesdays here on WPTV. Thank you guys for being so active in the chat section. We answered a lot of questions for you here. The theme was unemployment. We'll come back next week, Tuesday, if Miss Brown will be patient with us yet. Answer some more questions all during your lunch break hour right here on WPTV. If you're watching this on the tail end of our broadcast and you want to go ahead and catch up on all the questions that we answer, don't worry, this broadcast will be saved. You'll be able to watch it on our streaming platforms. Thank you guys so much for being here. And thank you, Miss Brown. We appreciate having you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Allison. And again, as we did last week, any questions that we did not get a chance to get to, my staff and I will comb through those questions and make sure that we answer all the questions that the viewers have.
Working hard for you guys. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you again, Chris.